What up guys, it's your boy Ali, and welcome to Hip Hop Forever. In the late 90s, Rocafella Records were in a good place. Jay-Z released In My Lifetime Volume 1. It sold 138,000 copies in the first week, and it debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200. Rocafella Records started to dominate hip-hop. Each project they released put them in a better position within the genre. However, eventually, Jay, Biggs, and Dame thought an R&B act would expand their reach, and signed a group called Christion to Rocafella Records. Before Christion signed to Roc-A-Fella, they made a name for themselves in California. Dame Dash acquired their demo from a mutual friend. After listening to it, he liked Full of Smoke and The Ghetto, and decided to sign the pair to his label. Knowing that Full of Smoke was a smash, Dame, Biggs, and Jay released it as a single, and the group's career took off from there. I was over at Priority, and Damon was in the office an hour before us. My friend had passed him our CD, and I got a call from him that same night. He had heard Full of Smoke and called me up to ask me if we wanted to roll with Roc. At this time, I didn't even know who the Roc was. 5 days later, we were in New York kicking it with Jay and them. Clearly, Rocafella knew they were onto something. Christion's sound was unorthodox and contributed to the growing neo-soul movement. Despite bringing something different to the table, Christion's time on the label was very brief, and their debut album was their first and only album released on Rocafella. So the question is, what happened to Christion?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? What's up, baby? What's up, baby? What's up, man? You, baby.
In the late 90s, Christion released their debut album titled Ghetto Cyrano. The album debuted at number 146 on the Billboard 200 and number 23 in the US Top R&B Hip-Hop Albums chart. Now, I'm not gonna use any euphemisms to describe their sales performance. I'll be blunt. The album did decent numbers, and it didn't blow up the way it should have, and we'll talk about these reasons later. So in that moment, Christion went from being the next R&B act to look out for, to the one that did okay with the Jay-Z co-sign. In my opinion, Ghetto Cyrano was a great offering. It's soulful and influenced by jazz and the blues. To me, Full of Smoke is the best song on the project. It makes me feel like I'm that guy, you know? Like I run shit. The song peaked at number 53 on the Billboard 100 and number 15 on the US Hot R&B Hip Hop Songs chart. Other popular songs include Bring Back Your Love,
Bring back your love, bring back your love, that's all that I'm living for, all that I'm living for.
and I Wanna Get Next to You.
I wanna get next to you.
Full of Smoke as a single did alright. However, despite having a significant buzz, Christion's debut album underperformed, and Kenny Ski believes he knows why that happened. What I didn't know was that the hip-hop promotion and marketing system is completely different from the R&B one. I don't think Damon knew it either, so he tried to promote Christion as an act in the same avenues as hip-hop, and for some reason we just weren't getting anywhere. There were a lot of people that didn't even know the album was out when it came out. We weren't in the public eye, and the label couldn't figure out how to get us on BET. There was no such thing as MTV when I first came to Rocafella. Even Jay-Z wasn't on MTV, so it was frustrating. Very frustrating. Evidently, Kenny believes Christion didn't blow up because Rocafella didn't know how to promote an R&B act. And he's right, they were guinea pigs. Christion was the first R&B artist to sign to Rocafella. Dame Dash would promote them in venues that were catered to a hip-hop audience because he didn't know any better. He tried his best. However, this time his best wasn't good enough. At the same time, Christion didn't do much to promote themselves. After Full of Smoke blew up and the duo signed to Dame Dash, they should have won. They had a hit, and they were affiliated with an up-and-coming Jay-Z.
Christion.
It should have worked. However, the duo made the mistake of depending on the label to keep them relevant. In 1998, Rocafella released the Streets Is Watching soundtrack. The project debuted at number 27 on the Billboard 200 and was created to introduce the newest Rocafella acts to the world. In that aspect, Streets Is Watching was a success. Christion appeared on 2 tracks, namely Pimp This Love and Your Love.
Jay.
This was a good look. However, despite gaining more recognition, the attention they gained wasn't enough to keep the label focused on them. Now, according to Kenny Ski, Rocafella wasn't showing them enough love. As newly signed artists, Christion promoted their label whenever they could. They were always dressed in Rocawear and would always speak positively of Rocafella. However, they felt like despite being loyal to the company, they were not offered the same courtesy. At the time, Jay-Z was becoming an icon and had a significant buzz. All eyes were on him. He started releasing more music, he was putting out more music videos. However, even with all of his success, he didn't put Christion on many of his projects. This frustrated the duo, and as a result, they became impatient and resentful. Damon is like me. He has a lot of trust and loyalty issues. I thought I was very loyal to The Roc. Wherever we went, we were promoting them. My brother and I were always in rock-aware. We were pumping the rock, but we felt the rock wasn't pumping us. Jay-Z was now blowing up and doing all these videos, so how come we were not in the videos? How come we were not singing any of the hooks? How come they aren't giving us whatever little exposure they can through Jay-Z? That was very frustrating. I just thought that since we're all family, we should have each other's back. Clearly, Christion deserved more attention from the label. They needed a nudge. However, at the end of the day, the group failed to realize that Jay tends to jump on records or work with artists that are already hot. Now this reminds me of something Dame Dash said about Jay. Jay has been retiring since Reasonable Doubt, and if you notice, he really does not jump on any of his artists' first singles or nothing like that. So it's not like he makes it that much easier to break the artist. You know what I'm saying? It's like tough love at the Rock. So I'm like, if I can get some other people to blow up, and they can help each other. I'm always trying to create a team. At the time, Jay wasn't interested in breaking new artists. He did whatever he wanted to do. Ironically enough, Cameron had a similar problem with Jay when he joined Roc-A-Fella. When he got to the label, Cameron was different. He was more focused and persistent because his previous label screwed him over. However, his newfound confidence nearly got in the way of his working relationship with Jay-Z. There was tension between the two artists. Cameron wanted to do songs with Jay. I mean, who wouldn't? Jay was hot at the time. However, it appears Jay-Z wasn't interested in a lot of the records Cameron presented to him. You can learn more about this in my Cameron vs. Jay-Z video. As far as Christion is concerned, is Jay-Z at fault? It depends on how you look at it. From one perspective, we live in an every man for ourselves world. Jay didn't have to do anything to promote Christion. They are masters of their own fate and could have done more to promote themselves. But on the other hand, if you compare Jay to Eminem, 50 and Lil Wayne, Jay pales in comparison.
Like I'm always so grateful for those three people selflessly giving me a chance.
All three of them promoted their artists very heavy. They always gave their artists shout-outs, interviews, brought them out on stage, did features, you name it. They were all about teamwork and codependence. And these are traits Jay didn't have at the time. After their debut album didn't do amazing numbers, Kenny Ski left Rocafella Records, while Alan, the other half of Christion, remained on the label because he wanted to release a solo album. And in my opinion, this began the downfall of Christion. Alan recorded 3 versions of his debut album called Oakland International. However, the album didn't see the light of day because Dame thought it lacked Christion's signature sound. Also, Rocafella dissolved, leaving Alan in a very bad position.
It wasn't the deal that went bad, it was all the stuff going down with Jay-Z and Dame. It was the split messed up everything.
That was 2001, 2002. His solo album never came out. He recorded it 3 times, but Damon kept saying that it didn't have the Christion sound. But what they didn't realize is that I had written and produced 90% of the first album. Clearly, Kenny Ski felt some type of way about Christion's dissolution. However, that didn't stop him from dropping new music. In 2005, Christion released their second album, Project Plato. Like its predecessor, it contains elements of soul, funk, blues, pop, and hip-hop, and combines them in a way that's pleasing to the ear. However, Project Plato is a different album for one reason. Alan Anthony is hardly on the project. T. Ross, Christion's former backup singer, was his replacement. After Alan left Rocafella Records, he along with his cousin Sean Bivens formed a heavy metal group called A Band Called Pain. They released their debut album called Broken Dreams in 2006, and it made a little bit of noise in California. Additionally, one of their songs, Holy, appeared on the Saw 2 soundtrack. Other popular tracks of theirs include Hellbound and Pieces. Over the years, Alan and Kenny Ski continued to work apart. They have released a lot of music. Kenny Ski and Jimmy Sloan put out a project called The Groove Divinities, whereas Alan put out Urban Pop and Pop Star. Needless to say, none of these projects did amazing numbers. At the end of the day, Roc-A-Fella didn't know how to promote an R&B act. They had a sure win. Christion came out when neo soul was becoming popular. Acts like Anthony Hamilton, Maxwell and Erykah Badu come to mind. Christion blended in amongst these artists. However, that didn't matter because the label dropped the ball. Also back then, Roc-A-Fella was trying to imitate Bad Boy's success. They did everything Bad Boy was doing because it worked. Puffy laid down the blueprint for a successful hip-hop and R&B label, and Roc-A-Fella tried to follow suit. However, when it came to Christion's career, they failed dismally. Christion gets about 35,000 listeners on Spotify. Considering their hottest album dropped in the late 90s, those numbers are decent. Kinda. They aren't record breaking, but hey, Everybody can't be Maxwell. Alan Anthony's Spotify page gets about 1,000 monthly listeners. In all honesty, he tried to go the solo route, but it doesn't seem to be working out for him. In my opinion, Christion should have stuck together. They worked best when they made music with one vision in mind. The label played a part in their split, so at the end of the day, this is just a classic case of what happens when the label intervenes with the art.
Been in the studio, meeting with people, trying to get it out the right way, so we don't make the same mistakes I made with Rocafella.
That's it for me, man. It's your boy Ali. What happened to Christion in your opinion? Let me know down below. Also, if you have any video requests, be sure to let me know as well. Also, be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And yeah, till next time, man. Peace.